Doctors' Intellectualizing of Peer Pressure, Dark Horse Podcast Clips, SCOTUS on COVID. Everybody is failing in their professional responsibilities because something is forcing them. Podcast was uploaded on 1/15/2022. What follows is a discussion about the many professionals abandoning their areas of expertise to go along with the prevailing narrative.
Two different quotations from C.S. Lewis. For if crime and disease are to be regarded as the same thing, it follows that any state of mind which our masters choose to call disease can be treated as crime and compulsorily cured. It will be vain to plead that states of mind which displease government need not always involve moral turpitude and do not therefore always deserve forfeiture of liberty. That's one.
Great.
And second, again from C.S. Lewis, this very kindness stings with intolerable insult. To be cured against one's will in curative states which we may not regard as disease is to be put on a level of those who have not yet reached the age of reason, or those who never will, to be classed with infants, imbeciles, and domestic animals. They certainly are infantilizing us, and or we are allowing our infantilization. And
I would say they are infantilizing us. They are gaslighting us. They are intimidating us, and that different things work on different people.
mm-hmm.
But that at some level, they will do whatever it takes to make sure that we are denied all choice, that we are left with one option, and that we are unpersoned should we find that unacceptable. And I think the thing is, anybody who does that is obviously the definition of the wrong side of history. We know that these people are bad, however they became that way, because of their insistence on robbing us of all options, all agency, and all reason. And, you know, how much do you need to know about people like that before you realize, actually, I'm not listening to them anymore. I'm with the people who are making sense.
How do we explain? I don't think this is a non sequitur, although it may sound like it. And you and I have not discussed this at all. Actually, it hasn't come up between us yet. How do you explain the number of just blatant inaccuracies from SCOTUS in the discussion of the possible mandates? You know, Supreme Court of the United States, specifically, I think Kagan and Sotomayor had some just whoppers in there, and I didn't watch very much, and I didn't see that many transcripts either. But my sense is, I may be wrong, that they believe what they're saying.
Yeah. Oh boy,
they really believe what they're saying. And wow, like what then? What do we do?
Well, I think, I really think it comes down to this. You know, you called them whoppers. We might call them whoppers, right?
What now?
From WAPO, from the Washington Post, you know. And I think the thing is, look, let's be kind to our Supreme Court justices. These people live in a very visible position at the head of officialdom. And those in officialdom, for reasons that we would have to guess at, probably can't afford to entertain things that they are being told are fringe and misinformation or disinformation, dangerous. And so I think the point is, if you're spooked enough because your position does not allow you to engage these things, you reject them every time they show up on a screen, and you basically are constantly reasserting that you are not from the crazy tribe, nor do you listen to them. And if that's your bent because your job demands it, then what we're talking about is like a foreign language. And so in some sense, this was like an exploration of the party line mind, right? People who have never trafficked in doubt about the public health authorities and are therefore effectively reverse engineering what must be behind their proclamations.
But I guess so. I've already been surprised and stunned and beyond disappointed by a lot of people these last 2 years who can question stories when they come in a domain that they have at least passing familiarity with. And we have long noticed and talked about on Dark Horse, but for decades have noticed how much more easily people would put faith in a proclamation if it comes with numbers or if it comes with an imprimatur of a scientific authority, because most people are so badly educated in math and in science in school that they have long since said that I black box, that I have to choose the people I listen to. And if they think that the current government is one that is legitimately working on their behalf, then they will look to the authorities the government has appointed. That's devastating and is doing tremendous damage across media. Let's say it is precisely the job of the Supreme Court of the United States to have doubt on every subject. I feel like I am no legal scholar in any way, but I feel like that is actually a reasonable claim to being one of their top priorities.
Yeah, but I mean, I think you're on the right track here. Everybody is being bullied away from their professional responsibilities, right? We are firing doctors and nurses who, as doctors and nurses, are not compelled that these vaccines are safe and effective enough to take, right? We are intimidating doctors who talk about alternative treatments that they have tried and have gotten value from. So the point is, everybody, you and I, are supposed to not do what you and I do, right? We're trained to look into complex systems and to understand them even in light of imperfect evidence. That's what evolutionary biologists do. We never have randomized controlled trials. We're always dealing with data sets that are confusing and imperfect and deeply incomplete. And so, we're not supposed to be doing that now. Why? Because this is that kind of emergency. Well, what I don't remember is the discussion that says, where is the threshold, right? We all agree that there are circumstances so dangerous that your normal instincts should be put on hold, right? We all agree with that, right? If the ship is sinking, then that is the priority. What we have not discussed is, okay, at least the initial variants of SARS-CoV-2 were worse than the flu. How much worse than the flu does something have to be before you turn society upside down, before you allow small businesses to be destroyed and all of that wealth transferred to their gigantic competitors? How bad does something have to be before we suspend normal? And the answer is, we pass stuff around all the time in a normal year. People are passing flu to each other. Grandmothers are dying because somebody gets on a plane who shouldn't, right? This happens all the time. Now, maybe the point is we should have a very different approach to all infectious disease, and it should affect travel. But we've never had that conversation, that we were just simply told that this pathogen was above some threshold where we needed to turn the world upside down and effectively to do it indefinitely. Until when? We don't know. They've never told us. Who are we? Apparently that's not ours to know. And so you've got Supreme Court justices not behaving like Supreme Court justices. You've got members of Congress not behaving like members of Congress. You've got presidents not behaving like presidents. You've got professors not behaving like professors. You've got philosophers not doing philosophy, right? Everybody is failing in their professional responsibilities because something is forcing them out of it. And those of us who have attempted to continue to do what we do have found ourselves in this weird netherworld where we are portrayed as the enemies of reason and decency and health. And, okay, that's why, right? You're in a world where the doctors who are doing the doctoring are now heretics, and the professors who are continuing to try to do the job of sorting stuff out are, dangerous conspiracy theorists or whatever. And the answer is, look, either you're smart enough to see through that and to say, wait a second, maybe those are the doctors I should be listening to. The answer is, look, either you're smart enough to see through that and to say, wait a second, maybe those are the doctors I should be listening to, or you're not. And I guess I'm not terribly surprised that the Supreme Court is staffed by people who have not figured their way out of the matrix because they live at the center of it. I guess I'm not terribly surprised that the Supreme Court is staffed by people who have not figured their way out of the matrix because they live at the center of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't breed confidence, though, does it? It doesn't breed confidence, though, does it?
Oh boy, no, it ought to terrify us.
Yeah.
But, it's also, I think many people are sort of groping for, they're asking, well, what will end this, right? How is this going to end if this is where we are? And the answer is, it's not going to be easy, but so many things come down to the same calculation that a smoker ought to have, right? The fact that what you face to quit smoking is very, very difficult is no argument whatsoever to not quit smoking. It's an argument to do it now because it's only going to get worse. And
Yeah.
so that's where we are. The point is, what's going to end this? Well, it's going to be us finally facing it together and saying no. What's going to end this? Well, it's going to be us finally facing it together and saying no, right? That's what's going to end it. When would be a good time to do that? I'm trying to remember what the aphorism is. Something like the best time to do it would have been 2 years ago. The second best time is now. The best time to do it would have been 2 years ago. The second best time is now, right?
Yep.
It's that.
A great many of these experts have obviously been compromised. Can or should anyone listen to the advice that these purported experts are dispensing to the public? Wrong will always be wrong. The end does not justify the means. What then is the objective? All must use critical thinking.